There's nothing better to know, like, hey, my team has my back. I need to do this for them. If I'm not going to do it for myself, I need to do it for other people. That's what a team is. There's times in games where you want to quit. There's times in games where you want to give up, but you don't, because you don't want to give up on your teammates. You don't want to give up on your team. You don't want to give up on everybody that helped get you to where you are. And sometimes you have to perform for other people if you're not going to do it for your damn self. Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Our story of the day is dealing with gymnast Olympian Simone Biles quitting on her team and her country at the Tokyo Olympics. This comes from our friends over at the Daily Wire. If you're not already a member, please go over and become a subscriber today. It is written by Joe Morgan, and he titles it Simone Biles Withdraws from Individual All-Around Event to Focus on Mental Health. Now, many of you may or may not know, I am an athlete. I played ice hockey for over 25 years. So much so, for 20 of those years, I played 6 to 7 days a week on multiple teams. I played all across the United States as well as Canada. So I know what it's like to be in high-pressured situations. I've won championships. I've lost in championships. I know what it's like. Not necessarily anything compared to Simone Biles. She is an Olympian. Not many people could say that they're Olympians. And she is the greatest gymnast of all time, or at least there's an argument to be said or had with that statement. Now, that does not give you an excuse to quit on your team when you're the best athlete or the best person for that job, as well as your country. It does not give you an excuse to do it. She's going to take up mental health here as an excuse. And I kind of hesitated on doing this story because of mental health, and mental health is a drastic issue. Luckily, I don't suffer from that, but I know a lot of people that do. I've lost friends due to mental health. So I try to give her the benefit of the doubt here, because we also don't have too much to go on as far as what are the specifics of the mental health. And I don't think they're going to disclose that, but I digress. Let's start the article here. The article starts off saying, Wednesday morning, USA Gymnastics announced that Biles will not be participating in the individual all-around competition on Thursday following her withdrawal from the team competition. The USA Hockey Gymnastics sent out a release on Twitter, and this is what they had to say. The tweet reads, after further medical evaluation, Simone Biles has withdrawn from the final individual all-around competition. We wholeheartedly support Simone's decision and applaud her bravery in prioritizing her well-being. Her courage shows yet again why she is a role model for so many. And a role model, rightfully so. There's an argument to be had that she is the greatest gymnast that has ever existed here. But what she is teaching our youth, what she is teaching to those that look up to her, is that it is okay to quit when things get hard. It is okay to quit when you make a tiny mistake. It is okay to quit on your teammates. It is okay to quit on your country. This is the type of stuff that she is teaching, and she's too worried about herself. Again, this is all speculation. She is too worried about herself and her mistakes to care about any of that. And I'll tell you why I have that opinion. She had already made other mistakes prior to her doing vault. She did vault, she landed a little funky, and then she walked off all pissy, and rightfully so. You messed up, and you don't want to mess up because she's probably a perfectionist, and she should be. She's an athlete. We all strive for perfection. But then that was kind of when all this medical evaluation stuff, mental health stuff kicked in, her having a little patty whack with her teammates saying, look, this isn't my only Olympics. I'm going to be fine. This is your first Olympics. You guys need to do this. You're going to be okay. You got this, blah, blah, blah. So with that being said, I think that she just got frustrated with herself. She's having a bad time at the Olympics here. She's struggling a little bit, and so she's just going to give up. And now that's teaching our youth that it's okay. Now, when I grew up playing sports, there was nothing called giving up. You were not allowed to give up. Even if you got injured, depending on the severity of the injury, you did not give up. You kept playing through it. We'll deal with it later. To the point where, say you took a slap shot in your foot, you know, you can't pull your foot out of your boot out of a hockey skate because it will swell up so bad that you actually couldn't get your foot back into the boot. So if you took a shot to the foot and it might be broken, might not be, might be sprained, might just be severely bruised, you're playing through that. You all seen images and video of hockey players breaking their legs playing it. Brett Hall is a case in point during the Stanley Cup. He played on a broken leg. There's guys that take shots from broken legs that are taking more shots, taking shots to the face and still trying to take more shots from the face during the shift. So you don't give up. And that mentality is carried through American values, that you do not give up. You keep going, you push through when times get hard. You also see this happening in the school system where kids are just giving up because things get a little bit too hard. And why? Because they see people like Simone Biles giving up when things get hard, giving up when you make a mistake, not fixing your mistake, not sitting down and showing kids that you corrected your mistake by maybe doing it again later on, or fixing it and showing and doing a video on it and saying, hey, you know what? Here's where I messed up. This is how I fixed it. And this is how I pushed through at the Olympics. And you can too. Being a role model that way is what we need. Not a role model just gives up and walks off the court here or off the floor, whatever you want to call it, and just says, I have mental health issue problems. Now, here's the issue. Now, here's the main issue of all this. There's a certain type of mental health that I think is okay to walk off on this scenario. We don't know the severity of the mental health. I'm speculating that I think it's just an excuse, and I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, I apologize. But if she has depression from all this pressure, and she's talking about killing herself, and she's had suicidal thoughts, I am 100% okay with her walking off. More than 100% okay with her walking off, even though as a statistics teacher, you can't be more than 100% on something. I get that, folks. But you get what I'm saying here is that I don't want anybody to pass away. I don't want anybody to give up their life for something like this. I want her to succeed. I want her to be okay. So I understand the whole mental health situation, and I want her to be fine. How many times have we seen actors dying in their hotel room, you know, a friend walking in the morning to wake them up, you know, a maid or whatever, and they're dead on the floor, they're dead on the bed. I don't want something like that to happen, folks. I've even seen that happen to NHL players. I don't want that to happen to Simone Biles here. Now, is there anything that's been reported on her having suicidal thoughts or depression? Nothing like that. I don't want somebody saying, hey, I heard this on the Bald Brad show. Not that they would, but, you know, I don't want to be one that's promulgating that. All I'm saying is that that's one of the main only reasons I would see somebody pulling out and being okay with it is mental health, depression, something like that. The article goes on here to say Biles entered the game with sky high expectations. After winning 4 gold medals in the 2016 Olympics, Biles was expected by many to top her Rio numbers by becoming the first American female gymnast to win 5 gold medals at a single games. Now just completing an event would be an accomplishment. It's been a year in which the topic of mental health has fully entered the conversation in the world of sports. The reason why is because it was never talked about before. And people are like, well, it needs to be had. That conversation needs to be talked about. Does it though? I mean, you're playing a sport. There's always going to be pressure. You're taught that at a young age. Hell, if you start playing ice hockey at 5 or 4, you're taught to keep going. So the whole mental health issue, if you can't take the mental health, then maybe you shouldn't be at that level. Maybe you should not be competing at that level. Maybe you deserve not to compete at that level if you can't handle mental health, if you can't handle the pressure that you know is involved at that level. That's what doesn't make sense to me. We're just like, oh, well, you know, she has mental health. You know, hey, she's playing at high level. She has a lot of pressure. Yes, but you knew that going in. You knew that you would have to handle this type of pressure going in. And then you just quit. And I love this. There was a tweet the other day, and I think Matt Walsh commented on it. Somebody posts, oh, well, Michael Jordan quit at a young age during the off season, though. So when Michael Jordan retired or quit, he quit in the off season. He didn't quit during an NBA final game. You don't just walk off and just quit on people. How many times have we seen hockey players take a puck to the face, stitches going all the way down, their face just looks a total mess, they come back in the game, and they finish it. I've seen guys have their head wrapped, you know, stitches across the whole forehead here and go in and score a game-winning goal for their teammates because they never gave up. And they're not even playing in the Olympics. They're playing in the NHL because they know never to give up. They know that they have role models out there. They're going to watch them play and struggle and push through what they did. I grew up with that type of hockey. I grew up with guys getting hit in the face, guys getting hurt, playing with broken legs like Brett Hall did, and knowing, hey, you know what? I need to be like those guys. I need to not give up, and I could take that characteristic and apply it to my everyday life in real life. When things get hard, you keep pushing forward, and it's going to help your mental health. And I would like to expand on this just a little bit here. I know this episode is going to be long, but I think it's important. When I went back to school for my master's degree, I kept getting phone calls from the student advisory people, whoever the heck those are. And they kept calling me about every like 2 weeks going, hey, how are you? How are you doing on things? And it was all about mental health. And they're like, well, how do you like de-stress? I'm like, I have a beer. Like I read a book. But they couldn't understand that idea of like de-stressing with just a beer or a book, or just like continue to work hard and doing other things. You know what I mean? Like continue grinding. They could not understand that aspect of it because it would always lead into more questions like, well, what do you mean? Like, well, is that really de-stressing? Is that really helping you? And they would have these conversations, and it made sense to me years after why they would have those conversations, because people just give up. They give up on their master's degree program. They give up on their PhDs because it gets hard. Life is hard, people. I'm sorry. Life is going to be hard. You got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, that old saying, and you continue to grind. Whoever said life was supposed to be easy? Hell, folks, we live in America. It's pretty damn easy compared to some other people across the globe here. Can we focus on maybe outside of our own milieu, our own bubble a little bit, and see how hard other people might have it compared to yourself, even if you are going through a very shitty situation? You know, I could tell you stories of me going through very terrible situations at times where it would have been very easy to give up, especially during my master's degree program, where I think anybody rightfully so would be like, hey, you know what, man, I think that's okay if you step back for maybe a year or two or didn't finish it. You got some stuff you got to figure out, not on mentally, personally me, but for other people and take care of other people. But I'm not going down that road because it's personal, but what I'm saying is you don't give up. And I'm going to keep hounding that. And I know I'm repeating myself. I'm fully conscious of when I repeat myself and the things I say, but it is frustrating because we're teaching this to our youth. And this has everything to do with being pushed into our society and creating a social fabric that's okay to just give up. And that's not okay when it's going in and some of these people are going into the military. I don't want them to have that idea of just giving up, because if we ever went to war here, folks, we don't want that mentality. We want the same mentality as we had with those great men in World War II. It goes on here to say, Naomi Osaka, the world's #2 ranked women's tennis player, pulled out of the 2021 French Open after citing long bouts of depression. So that's okay for me. If you're at depression and you're going through some stuff, I don't want that to lead to anything else. U.S. swimmer Simone Biles admitted to being diagnosed with overtraining syndrome, a medical diagnosis that gave her depression. I've never heard of overtraining syndrome. Usually we called that fatigue, folks. Just saying. We just called that fatigue. And you needed time. That's all it was. And it gave her depression. You know, again, I'm going to go with the benefit of the doubt that it was actually diagnosed as depression, even though it's saying overtraining syndrome. I've just never heard of that. I'm not saying it wasn't a thing when I was an athlete, but we just called it fatigued. We're tired. We needed a break. That's all it was. We didn't lead to depression. It didn't lead to you all bundled up in bed trying to figure out what's going on in life. What's my meaning and my purpose in this society, in this world? It didn't lead to things like that. But, you know, I want to be serious about depression and mental health. If any of my viewers are dealing with mental health, email me because I care. I might have never met you. I might have never seen you. You might leave me comments all the time. If you're dealing with mental health, email me. There's people that care about you, even if we haven't freaking met. There's people that care about you. You know what I mean? Think about those other people. That's all I have to say. And seek help. Seek help. Go out there. Make that phone call to the hotline. When you're going through tough situations, you need to reach out for help. Okay? Simone Biles, maybe reach out to your teammates for help. You know what I mean? Reach out for people for help. Who said you can't get help? That's what's confusing. People want to help. We're Americans. We want to help one another. And now Biles has become the new face of the mental health conversation. You know, is that necessarily a bad thing? Not really. I mean, she has a good personality. I think she's somebody that can show herself overcoming mental health issues. So maybe that could be a conversation later. But, you know, I don't know. The article goes on to say, after her withdrawal from the women's gymnastics team final, the U.S. team still managed to win the silver medal. Biles spoke openly about her struggles and the reason why she felt it was best that she allow her teammates to finish the event without her. I haven't heard of a conversation of her having with her teammates and seeing what everybody thinks that she should do. Now, sometimes your teammates will say, I want you to be in it. If we lose, that's fine. We're a team. We're one. And a lot of the times that's what your team is going to go with. Even if you're a crappy player, your team is all one and they want to be in there with you. Y'all win together or y'all lose together. Either or. You don't just quit on your teammates. Now, what is the assumption that I think that she quit not for mental health reasons, but because things got hard and peer pressure or pressure that was coming down upon her for the Olympic Games? Well, it comes from her own words. Let's read them. She says, I just don't trust myself as much anymore, Biles said. I don't know if it's age. I'm just more nervous when I do gymnastics. I feel like I'm also not having as much fun. And I know this Olympic Games, I wanted it to be for myself. I'm still doing it for other people. Well, yeah, I mean, you do it for yourself, but you also do it for your country. I mean, it's the Olympic Games. You're there to represent your country and make sure your country wins. So it's a little bit of both, let's be honest. Biles' vault attempt in the team competition was shocking. She appeared to lose where she was in the air, landing in an awkward position before taking a large step forward on the mat. That's kind of what I was talking about a little bit earlier. Quote, we also have to focus on ourselves because at the end of the day, we're human too, Biles said. So we have to protect our mind and our body rather than just go out there and do what the world wants us to do. She also goes on to say, I had to do what's right for me and not jeopardize my health and well-being, she added. So that's why I decided to take a step back and let them do their work. Biles' decision has been questioned by many without the doubters feeling that she quit on her team, or with the doubters quitting, she quit on her team, forgive me. But Biles said her decision was made with the team in mind, choosing to withdraw in order to not jeopardize a medal for her teammates. There you have it. Choosing to withdraw in order to not jeopardize a medal for her teammates. And it also says Biles said her decision was made with the team in mind. Not that she had a conversation with her team, not that she sat down and thought, hey, you know, what do you guys want to do here? I'm not performing at my best. You still want me to go forward with you guys, and having that conversation. So this was just all a me, and not everybody else. Everybody else is here to win gold, and you might have just jeopardized them of winning gold, even though they got silver, and that's great. They probably could have won gold with you there, especially knowing when you got your teammates have your back, even though they know that you're messing up. There's nothing better to know, like, hey, my team has my back. I need to do this for them. If I'm not going to do it for myself, I need to do it for other people. That's what a team is. There's times in games where you want to quit. There's times in games where you want to give up, but you don't, because you don't want to give up on your teammates. You don't want to give up on your team. You don't want to give up on everybody that helped get you to where you are. And sometimes you have to perform for other people if you're not going to do it for your damn self. There's a lot of people who do that in everyday life. They don't want to do certain things, but they do it for other people. They do it for their family. Welcome to adulthood. There's a lot of damn things adults want to do, but they do it for their family. Work 2 or 3 jobs to support their family or other people in other nations, which is their family as well. It goes on here to say, I was like, I think the girls need to do the rest of the competition without me, Biles said after the event. They were like, I promise you'll be fine. We watched you warm up, but I said, no, I know I am going to be fine, but I can't risk a medal for the team and I need to call it, which seems like the team wanted her there, right? It seems like the team goes, hey, you messed up, but we still want you. You usually don't hear me say things like that because I usually persevere and push through things, but not to the cost the team a medal. So they were like, okay, if Simone says this, we need to take it pretty serious. I had the correct people around me to do that, she said. So just because Simone comes up with a crazy idea, we all have to agree with her because she's the best. Sometimes good people that play sports and they're really good at it come up with really crappy ideas and we have to call them out on it. And this was a really crappy idea. And it didn't cost them a medal. They got silver. Everybody knew that they were going to get the top tiers there, either gold, silver, bronze, whatever the last one is. Maybe it's copper. Nobody remembers because it's 3rd place, but you get what I'm saying. And then we also have Michael Phelps here congratulating her on this idea that this is okay just to quit, right? Phelps says, we carry a lot of weight on our shoulders and it's challenging, especially when we have the lights on us and all these expectations being thrown on top of us. Well, Michael, I don't remember you quitting. I don't remember you giving up when things got hard. I know you went through some tough times during the Olympics, out of many Olympics that you did, but you never gave up. You never quit on your teammates. You never quit when we had to do the I don't even know what the swimming thing is. You know, when you have multiple guys swimming at a time, forgive me, I'm not up on all this. I haven't even watched the Olympics this year, but you get what I'm saying on all this. So there you have it. You have people supporting this crazy old decision just to quit on your teammates, and now it's being pushed to the youth that are following her, and then we're just going to have this be a snowball effect because people are going to think it's okay. So there you have it. Simone Biles withdraws from an individual all-around event to focus on mental health. I wanted to give you my opinion on it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Sorry it was a little long, but with that being said, please make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Again, I have over 50% of my viewers are not even subscribed. Sometimes it's almost 90% of my videos. The subscribers aren't even there. So make sure you please subscribe. You can get more content here at The Bald Brad Show. We also have a Patreon page. The link is down below. Go ahead and check that out if you want to support. All of the proceeds, 100% of it, is going towards advertising to help this channel grow, help The Bald Brad Show grow here. And folks, I will see you a little bit later today with more news here on The Bald Brad Show.